Okay, Max Anstie obviously heading into round 2 after a very successful opening round. So what does this feel like? Does it feel like a foreign feeling, or does this feel like business as usual?
Business as usual. I've had a good bit of practice. You know, I had the red plate last year, and I lost the red plate. I had the red plate, didn't get the results that I wanted. Now I feel like, I'm not saying that I kind of lucked into it last year, but okay, there was things that went on, of course, with everyone else. It's the name of the game with this championship. Consistency, like I've said, take the wins if they're there, but if they're not there, maximise. But no, I feel like I deserve it now, and I'm in a position where I want to hold on to this thing. My
running Max Anstie commentary has been that last year you were going, or you could say, oh yeah, I could win this, which is great. Whereas this year it's, I should win this. Difference of a couple of letters, but that really alters the outlook on racing and the outlook on day-to-day life. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's so many things, so many pieces to the puzzle that have to fall together, and obviously it did last week. So being in this position is amazing. I'm grateful for it, and the team and everyone around me, it's fantastic. It's what I've always dreamed of. Even just showing up to Tampa for round 1, man, it was so cool, and wearing, the Star Yamaha gear and outfit and getting on the bike and doing my thing, is a dream. I wouldn't have imagined this a few years ago, sat in Europe or wherever we were. So definitely grateful to be in this position, but yeah, I feel like it's time to do work, and I'm here to just do my job, execute as well as I can, and take whatever comes to me. Last week looked perfect, but was it? Where did the weakness lie?
I worked on... What did I work on this week? I worked on pushing through the rhythms. I felt like I could be a little better there. And even though I was really good in the whoops, I had some ideas with our engine department and mapping guys for some whoop ideas. I don't think it's going to work here, and I actually didn't even get into that yet. But I felt really good last week in the whoops, but I felt like I could have possibly improved. So I'm just always looking for every small little thing. I'm nitpicking, I felt like I was in a really good spot. I didn't make many changes. The day went perfect, as you can say, but I just did what I had to do. Of course, as well, I know I got lucky in the heat race with Pierce, and he had it, and then the red flag. But still, I've been around all those guys riding and training, and we've got to a good level. So yeah, we're in a good spot.
And as well, your start was really good in the main event. Looking back on that, do you feel like it was something that's easy to replicate, or do you look back on it and go, I don't really know how I pulled that?
I do them every day in the week, literally. I've never felt as solid and as good at starting as what I do right now. Like, I genuinely was on the start line, I got this.
And you've never had that feeling?
I've never felt like that before. It is incredible. So I found it really, that's quite good for the interview, to be honest, mixing it up a little bit. I did find, so my whole career, I've always really thought about start position, and I don't want to go near some guys. Right. I want to be near the box. I want to give myself a shot. Let's kind of defensive, right? Like a defensive mindset of ooh, wow, am I going to be lucky here? Oh, what happens if they're honestly, before I went down to the gate, it was, I'm going gate 4. No, gate 4 or 6 were my 2 gates, right? Because RJ was first to the gate. If he didn't take gate 4, I was going gate 4. Did not matter who was going there, who was around me. It didn't matter if he literally went one to the right, and I took it, and I was like, arguably you'd be like, oh, maybe you should go inside of your guy, you push them out or whatever. No, I genuinely did not care. I was going gate 4, that was my gate. I'm getting the whole shot from there. That's to be perfectly honest, even in the main, I got out the gate really good, and I caught the edge a little bit, hooked to right, kind of squashed all of those guys. I wouldn't say lucky, I was in front, but I definitely screwed their start somehow. but it was kind of being on that side of the fence. It was just, yeah, I was going to get a good start. So I'm not saying that everyone's going to be like that. I'm not saying that every day is going to go perfect. I'm not saying that every track is going to be my track or whatever. But it was very nice for it to work out that way, and I've never felt like that before. So I feel like I'm progressing, constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly trying to be better, and yeah, here we are.
Chance Hymas, was this a normal week for you? Are you back to normal routine, or are you still on this very weird program?
Yeah, back to normal routine. I got to ride Tuesday, Wednesday, and got to do a little bit of testing, mostly just tweaked here and there, but did a couple main events on Tuesday and some sprint work on Wednesday. So yeah, definitely back to a normal schedule, which was super nice and a lot less stressful for me. So yeah, it felt good.
Obviously, the big goal was just to make it to Tampa. Now that you've done that, after Tampa, were you almost woken up to the massive job in front of you with testing and fitness and just the mountain that you needed to climb?
Honestly, like, I felt better after Tampa. Like, and going into Tampa, I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know how far off I was. I didn't know where I was going to be, and I feel like I kind of surprised myself with how much better I thought I was going to be, you know? So definitely that made it a little bit easier. And I realized, like, it's, you know, not that far off, so we'll keep working and keep chipping away at it.
Last quick one. Are you going to get to 100% this Supercross season, or is that out of reach?
I'll get 100% this year, for sure, this season.
Okay, Jack Chambers, you obviously took a time off of Supercross in Europe, but coming back to Tampa, it looks like, in a way, you hadn't missed a beat. So did you feel like a fish out of water, or was it really quite natural?
I definitely felt like a fish out of water when the lights came on and the night show and everything. The show is completely different than what it's like in Europe. Sitting on the line, they play the techno song every race, and it's just ingrained in my head. But yeah, the show is completely different, and I felt all right during qualifying. Free practice was all right. Yeah, the nerves for sure hit once the lights came on, but yeah, I feel pretty comfortable. Obviously at the practice track, I do well riding at the practice track. I'm sure everybody does that. So yeah, just applying at the races is the thing we're working on now.
Looking back on the time in Europe, do you now look at it as time wasted and you would be further ahead in Supercross if you'd stayed here? Or do you feel like the experience is invaluable?
100% the experience is invaluable. When I first got the opportunity before Detroit, 23 was my last main here in the States, and I was kind of indecisive, not knowing much about the team. Mikkel Harp leaving, things, you know, to be worried about. I obviously had Zach's experience to stand on and think about when I made the decision, but yeah, I don't regret it. I can sit here and wish many things went differently and wish I had accomplished more things, or but for sure the experiences outweigh the negatives or the time lost that I here in the States. I don't think when I left I was in the position to fight for positions in the main. I was able to get to the main, and my speed showed I had the speed to fight for, you know, time in the main, but it was just the experience and the maturity of level of racing that I needed, and I feel like I gained that more on outdoors than I did Supercross. So I'm still searching for that in Supercross, but yeah, definitely more mature, better feeling on the bike, more connected, able to skip a whoop and, you know, recover.
Yeah.
Now, 2 years ago, I would have been on the ground if I skipped the whoop. It was more like I just needed to be perfect on the track. Now I can actually start to ride and push a little bit more, which obviously still is a work in progress, missing 2 years of racing Supercross. So yeah, the months we had in off season were good, but just need to keep climbing and keep working.
Yeah, I was going to say you seem more level-headed now, more mature. Does that just come because you're 2 years older, or do you put that down to Europe?
I think it's Europe. Obviously at 2 years older, I feel like I'm still 17, 18, honestly. But for sure is Europe. Moving there and living on my own was a huge change. Waking up the first day and having to make breakfast and live life and do laundry, and, you know, not that my mom really babied me that much, but I did live at home, so I got pampered a little bit. So yeah, I think for sure, like I've said multiple times, the maturity from Europe is for sure the thing that I think has helped with my confidence racing and riding Supercross.
I don't think anyone's ever doubted your speed or your potential, so where do you think you can get to this season?
Realistically, consistent top 10s is what I would want. I think I'm not far off of that. If I was at the beginning of the year and 5 or 6 seconds off consistently, I wouldn't be lying to the camera right now. So, but yeah, realistically, I think I can get to the top 10s, and I think every step, you gain another level of what you think is possible. So I'm sure once I get to a top 10, I'll be like, next weekend top 5. Well, then the next weekend I could get 12th and be mad at 12th, and you have to look at it as, a month ago I wouldn't have been mad at a 12th, So, I do look at the guys in front of me and the experience they have versus me. Yeah, racing Supercross. Yeah, I went to race MXGP. I raced the best in the world over there. So, but yeah, just being able to put that all together, and I think I can show it here. A couple rounds, maybe this weekend. But yeah, taking it every weekend, step by step.